Years ago, probably 20 years ago, when I started teaching Photoshop. I'd used Photoshop for many years before that, but started teaching it about 20 years ago. There was one of Adobe's books, Classroom in a Book. I think that series was called. Um, there was an exercise in one of those early editions where you took a bunch of pictures of fruit and vegetables and constructed a person's face out of it, as you see on the screen here. I made videos demonstrating different ways of doing that, using different selection tools, and um, I added some of my own variations to that. And those videos still exist, but the the picture files that were supplied to work with, uh, were very low resolution. Uh, the whole world was low res at the time. And so the way you work with lower resolution files is a little bit different than higher resolution files in terms of what you can do with them. And of course, the tools have changed a little bit since then. There's also the fact that those files were copyrighted, so I can't really post those in the course for people to use. But I liked that exercise uh, for a couple of reasons. It was good practice using different selection tools on different types of images with different problems to solve. And there were interesting results that students came up with. Everyone did their own little twist, their different take on creating the image, and during the critique I always treated them as if they were self-portraits, whether they thought of them that way or not. Okay, so I went to Flickr, used the Creative Commons settings to search for images. So I came up with some new higher resolution images to do a similar type of thing. And we're going to look at some techniques using those because they're Creative Commons. I can share those with you, and you can follow along with these techniques or find your own variations within them. So here's like a completed head. I meant to go back and look for something I could use for ears. I think this guy uh, should have ears, but I have to think of the right vegetable uh, to do that. I think in the original assignment that someone came up with, they used sections from a slice of an orange to good effect for that. I'll have to see what I can come up with. I'll probably add ears at some point here. So we're going to go through here, and I'm going to, well, I've saved this, so I'm just going to keep the same, I'm going to keep this file open. Or maybe make a duplicate of it. I can go up here to Image and Duplicate, and it will make a Melon head copy. I'm going to go into here and select all the layers and delete them. Now I had created a group for hair as the last thing in here, and I'm going to have to create a background here so I can get rid of that group. The background I'm just going to fill with white, so I'm going to hit Shift Backspace, select white, fill. I'm going to work on a white background here, and I don't want that moving around or anything, so I'm just going to lock that. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the images we have here. I'm going to go, okay, here's some Swiss chard, and I was using this leaf here for the hair. Now, I'm going to be demonstrating mostly non-destructive editing techniques here, where nothing is really destroyed or lost in the editing process, so that you can always like change your mind and go back and do things. Although I'm going to be uploading these files, and if we're only working with the one leaf, we don't really need all the rest of that. So I'm going to go ahead and crop this, and I'm going to leave some extra space around there so that I can not getting too close to the edges in case I do want to use some of this image around the leaf. I might have some use for that I'm not aware of. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Okay, so now that's cropped. Now if I use the Move tool and select this, notice that, and I'll zoom out a little bit, the rest of that image is still there. So I've cropped the image, but I haven't cropped this layer, so to speak. If I move this around, you see all of that image is still there. So I'm going to change my settings here. I'm going to go back to the crop tool, and now I'm going to click Delete Cropped Pixels. Now if you're doing non-destructive editing, that's kind of the thing you don't want to do, is delete things so that you can't ever go back and use those. But here, this is just like kind of a rough cropping, like a rough cut, like in video editing, you do what they'd call a garbage mat, where you're just doing kind of blocking out things in a rough way, and this is fine. So I'm going to do that. That's cropped. No, well, I haven't done it yet. Okay. See, as I'm adjusting that, you see the rest of the image. Now when I click OK, that's all really gone. If I select the image now, if I take the Move tool now, let me turn off the transform controls. Okay, and move it around, you see that there's no more image, we just see the transparency behind there. I'm going to undo that. Control-0 to zoom into that. And so I'm going to do that to all these images and save them so that they aren't huge.